Anderson, everybody.
Keep it going for Mike, everybody. Keep it going for yourselves, for being here. Before I start, also welcome to the show. Before I start though, I would like to have just a quick moment of silence. Just like that. I saw something pretty fucked up the other day. I saw a woman wearing a fedora. Yeah. And the wind knocked it off of her head. And she turned around and picked it up, but when she tried, the wind knocked it a little further away from her. She picked it up, put it on her head, and she saw me looking at her. And I was like, the universe told you no. But you wanted to be brave. Congratulations. I feel like that's one of the weirdest things to do after you put on like a perfectly fine outfit. And you go to grab a fedora and throw it on your head. Because you gotta make this motion to do it. And that's a move out of the Thriller video, so I don't know why you would do that to yourself. I believe in you too much for that. Is anybody in the audience right now happy? Maybe like one, out of all y'all, one person said yeah. The rest of y'all just made noise. Really quick, anybody else, something that you do for happiness, anybody? What? You know, what do you do for happiness? Okay, just living my life. Give me one more. Y'all quiet, it's cool. Does that, if you smoke weed, make noise? Thank you. Well, I'm happy too. Thank you. And what I've been doing for happiness is, in public, I pretend to be as afraid of white women as they are of me. And it's amazing. A white lady tried to sit next to me on the bus the other day. I was like, no. If a white lady walks behind me at night, I look over my shoulder, and I cower, and then I take off running, and I say, you can't catch me. But they always do. White women are very fast, that's all I'm saying. I did something pretty disgusting not too long ago. I turned 30. I think it was one lone clap. Is there any other disgusting people in the audience? I was afraid I was going to turn into my father. But oddly enough, I've been turning into my mother. I started calling my friends pudding and sugar. I started texting like this, I'm just... I say good morning to children now. Because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. And if they don't say it back, I'm like, I said good morning. They're as an adult person, you will respect me. I'm getting very lame in my old age. I was in a car with a friend of mine, and he was texting and driving. And I looked over, I was like, I sure hope that's an important text. And he was like, what'd you say? And I was like, I just turned 30, don't worry about it. I was on the phone with my cousin the other day, and he reminded me of the time we were younger and we lived in Jamaica. And what happened when we lived in Jamaica is I found out the hard way that FUBU wasn't cool anymore. We would stay with my grandmother in this village, and she would wash our clothes by hand and hang them outside to dry. She did it this one day, and someone had stolen all of my clothes when I went outside to go check on them. Socks, t-shirts, underwear, everything. Except for this one FUBU shirt. And I was like, damn, they got everything. Wonder why they didn't take that shirt off. And I looked at my cousin, I was like, yo, this shit is hot, right? This shit is fresh? And he was like, no. And I was like, why didn't you say anything? And he was like, everyone knows. He was like, there are people in this village who have never owned shirts, yet they chose not to take that. And I was like, damn, that kind of hurt me a little bit. I was talking to this other person, and they asked me, they were like, hey, what is the worst thing that has ever happened to you? And I couldn't think of anything. And they tried to egg me on. They were like, racism, anything. And I had this thought. There was this one time, I went to a convenience store, and I picked up a green LaCroix can, thinking that it was a Sprite. I paid for it. Took it home and I drank it. And that was the worst day of my entire life. It's awful. I don't know. It's not all bad though. I just went through a breakup. It's a weird time. I was living with my mother, which is probably a little part of the reason. And it was weird because like my mother does not understand personal space at all. Like she would just come into my room without knocking. And one day she did it and I had been crying. She couldn't even tell. She was just like, ew, what's wrong with you? And I was like, me, I'm just chilling. She was like, you want to go get some food? And I was like, not really. She was like, put your clothes on, let's go get some food. And I was like, all right. She took me to go get tacos. And this is true, while I was eating tacos, I started crying into them. And my mother, she was like, damn, it's that good? And I was like, it was awful. I was living in New York at the time, because that's where I'm from, and it sucked. Because no one cares about you in New York. It's the worst place to be heartbroken in. I was walking around Central Park, and there was a guy with the free hug sign, and I tried to give him one. And when I went up, he was like, fuck out of here. I was like, you have the sign, sir. Why would you do it if you didn't want to hug? If you didn't want to give me one. So yeah, I'm back in Chicago because people are nicer here. I've been crashing on friends' couches, and it sucks. I've been going couch to couch, and I'm starting to feel like the child of my friend group. You know, it kind of feels like visitation a little bit. Like I can hear them on the phone, like, I thought you had him this weekend. I can hear the pushback. They're like, no, it's definitely your weekend this weekend. We had him last weekend and the weekend before. Me and my partner need some alone time. We just want to have sex. And I'm in the living room playing my toys like, who's picking me up? You know, we're figuring it out, sweetie. We love you so much. Hold on, just give me 1 second. I was working back in New York. I was working with a lot of children because I don't have a ton of ambition. A lot of 20-year-olds, and they hated my fucking guts. Whenever I would walk up to them and they were talking, they would just stop talking. And like I wanted them to like me so bad, but every time I tried to talk to them, I just sounded like some old creep. You know? I'd be like, hey, what y'all doing? Y'all hanging out? Or we like, what's poppin'? What's poppin', y'all? Whenever they were listening to music, I tried to be hip and pretend like I knew who it was. And one day I was like, oh, I know that's little, that's young, that's fat, that's little. And the one girl was like, say it, who is it, say it. I just fell asleep, pretending like I was. Man, I want them to like me so bad. There's one night, we had all gotten off, and I was trying to hang out. I was like, what y'all about to go do? Y'all trying to hang out with the kid? Like, what's up? And they were like, we're all going home. And they exited out and went down this one way. And I called out after them. I was like, y'all all live that way? It sucks. They hit my guts, so I gotta get out of this one. Transition on home. It's very nice to be doing stand-up in front of you all. COVID was and is and has been a very odd time for all of us. This is true, very early in COVID, I got into an Uber and the driver said to me about COVID, he said, if it's what I think it is, pretty sure I had that back in '94. And I was like, please don't talk to me for the rest of this ride. And I had a feeling something weird was going to happen very early in 2020. I'll tell you why. I went on a date with a woman who had a toe ring on each toe. Even the big one. And I was like, who has the time? Really? Because I leave my shoes tied so I could just slip them on and go. She had the time to be like, one. I was on a date with this other lady and it was going pretty well. We went back to her place. And while I was at her place, I went down on her, as you do. And while I was going down on her, she farted in my face. A forceful wind. It kind of blew my beard back. It was like, yeah, exactly. And I tried to play it cool, of course. I was like, oh, you know, was that like a... Is that like a, I don't know, maybe like a queef or something? She was like, no. And I was like, sick. We don't talk anymore. But I think about her every single day. All right, are y'all ready for the the reason we're all here tonight? That is a damn shame. He did not come all the way out here for that. Are y'all ready for the reason we are here tonight? Your headliner, one of my absolute favorites. You've seen him on Comedy Central, Netflix, The Good Place, Parks and Rec. Are y'all ready? Yeah. Right now, get as loud as you possibly can. Get it going.